Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Building Resilience in Challenging Times. My name is Emma Carpenter, and I will be your moderator today. For those of you who are not familiar with 12 Weeks to Wellness, we have been providing health and wellness coaching for individuals, groups, and organizations across North America for over 15 years. And I can honestly say that everyone who works at 12 Weeks with me is truly passionate about helping people create healthy and fulfilled lives. I am so excited to introduce you to our speaker, Mary Roncarelli, today. I've worked with Mary in various roles for over 10 years now. Mary is one of the founders of 12 Weeks to Wellness, and over the years, she has coached thousands of people, empowering them to make remarkable differences in their health and well-being. If you're curious about our coaching programs, please visit our website, 12weekstowellness.com. Before I hand the mic over to Mary, I have a few housekeeping items to cover. First off, today's webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be made available after the session. I've gone ahead and muted everyone to avoid any background noise, but would love to hear from you during today's presentation. So if you do have a question for Mary, please feel free to send it through the chat. I'll be opening that up various times throughout the presentation. We'll be answering questions at the end of the session, and if we don't get to your question during today's webinar, we'll be sure to follow up afterwards as well. So without any further ado, I'd like to kick things off by welcoming Mary. Mary, over to you.
Thanks, Emma, and welcome everybody. You know, I can actually see your faces on the video screens, and I can't tell you what a strength of community this feels like right now. We're all in the same boat. There's been huge changes that people have been faced with, you know, of different variety, and I hope this next sort of half-hour period of time we have together allows us to look at what everybody else is doing. We're going to bring up the chat box, allow people to put in their 2 cents, because we're all in this together. And that's a really important part, and I want to kick it off with that perspective. What we're really going to be talking about today is resilience and what resilience means in challenging times. Many of us have been through challenging times, I'm sure, and we've used our resilience muscle, but I think individually and as a social community, we've never been through anything like this before. So I think we really want to look at the ways that we can maximize our ability to be able to adapt, be flexible, and to change into a way of doing things that are new to many of us with the less amount of stress impact on us as possible. So when you look at the first slide, we're going to look at the objectives, and I always am very cautious to remind people that resilience is very individual to each person. Although, yes, there is a general definition, I think resilience needs to be very individualized and personalized. So we're going to look at what that means. We want to look at why it's so important to be able to practice being resilient. And in my mind, resilience is really being able to adapt, to be flexible, to transition that needs to occur based on the situation, whether that's individual, corporately, or in your community. It's about being able to change, which is never easy to begin with. We want to look at ways, strategies that we can begin to kind of practice and put into our daily life, where we're consciously recorrecting ourselves or changing the way we're doing what we're doing, so that we can actually be showing resilience. We want to look at those strategies that we can incorporate that we might not have talked about, but have more to do with our lifestyle strategies. So we are going to ask people to participate, as I said, you know, using your chat box. Please feel free to tell us what you think, because that's something that's very shareable. So actually, I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to ask people to start adding to that chat box conversation. And I'd love you to put in one word that for you describes resilience. Let's kind of see what everybody is thinking about resilience today. So go ahead, put that in the chat box.
Accepting change, patience, strength, bounce backiness, flexible, courage, positivity, letting go, stamina, adapting, self-compassion, acceptance, faith, gratitude, calmness, living in the moment. Thanks, everybody.
Wow, if there was a toolbox that we had was all sent to our door, you kind of go and get your toolbox, you got a checklist, and you pick out one of those each day when you need it, that would be an amazing toolbox to have to build resiliency. So thank you, everybody. I wish we had those very clearly in front of us. So when we look at the actual definition of resilience, the psychological resilience is the ability to successfully cope with a crisis. And I bolded that, the ability to successfully cope. And I want to be really clear as we define resilience, that that does not happen overnight. I've talked to a lot of people through my coaching practice, myself, that is trying to successfully cope by adapting with what we would call a crisis. And I would say today, this is an individual, a social, a global crisis that we're all dealing with. And to return to pre-crisis status quickly. And I want to be really careful when we throw that word out quickly, because everybody's going to be a little bit different in terms of being able to create a new routine of which to operate from where they are now. Again, many of the clients I speak with are dealing with children at home. They're dealing with having to school their children. They're dealing with not using technology very, very well and having to learn that, constantly being isolated. There are many things that people are having to adapt to. So pre-crisis status quickly, well, I think it's going to take time, and there's a bridge we all have to cross and build as we move to this new way of doing things. Resilience exists when the person uses mental processes. We're going to get into that. That is your best and biggest tool. And behaviors in promoting personal assets, and everybody has them. Everybody has a resilient muscle. And often what happens is when we're put into a particular situation or crisis, it takes a while for us to dig in, dust those off, and put them to work. We want to protect an individual from potential negative effects of stressors. So think to yourself, how much stress have I incurred over this period of time of trying to do this, trying to adapt, trying to create new routines? There is going to be stress, but we want to try to be flexible enough to decrease the impact that stress has on ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, and any other way in your life, could be your relationships. So this is all about getting to the place where we found a new place to operate that's going to help us to improve the quality of our life. Not an easy thing. So why would we do this? Why is resilience important? Well, as I said, it provides us with life's challenges, tools to manage life's challenges. They are going to happen. And I'm telling you, I think that if you have children, this is a great opportunity to teach children what can happen in life and how we can best adapt to what happens to life to make us stronger, to make that muscle called resiliency stronger, because that is an amazing tool that we can have for all of us throughout our life. It helps us to develop an attitude from which to grow and learn in life. Again, if I ask many of you to sort of think, where's the opportunity in this? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. What have I been better able to do as a result of being pushed into this corner? And I think that that's a good opportunity to look at how we are all evolving as this whole situation evolves. We'll get a little bit more into that and be able to share. It empowers us to believe in ourselves and our abilities. I mean, again, confidence is built when we are put in a challenging situation and we get through it. And then we get to blow our own horns and say, I did it. I'm that much more stronger than I was before this happened. And I think that that is so important to recognize how we're empowering ourselves to actually grow and get stronger. And again, helps us get through the tough times. The more confidence we have in our ability to be able to cope with whatever life throws at us, the better we're going to be prepared to get through difficult times, no matter what it is. So in a way, if we had to look under the rock of what's happening, this is an opportunity for each one of us. It doesn't negate the challenges that we're facing financially, maybe from a quality of life perspective, maybe being laid off or losing some financial income. Not downplaying that, but how can we make our situation as best as we can given what's been thrown at us? And again, for me, because I've been sort of in the health enhancement field for an extended period of time, what matters most is that my health is something I consider no matter what I go through. That's why we want to be able to cope and manage this as efficiently as possible. So again, let's look at some of those things that create resiliency? What are those building blocks that we need to be practicing on a daily basis? The ability to be able to manage strong emotions and impulses. I don't know about you, but when this first happened, and I have been laid off from other things that I'm doing, I started to get panicky. I started to worry. I felt threatened. Maybe that 911 was turned on, and I started to panic. I considered again resiliency, took a deep breath. I allowed myself a period to be able to feel that way, and then to be got myself to sit back and think, okay, how am I going to rearrange my life? How am I going to do things differently? What do I need to look at to be able to make my life and my situation work over a period of time? Then we want to look at getting that help that we need and offering that help that the people in our lives need, or maybe coworkers or family members, to help them get through this difficult time as well. We all probably maybe have children, maybe family, maybe spouses that require support, our support, to help them figure out how to do maybe their life situation better at this time. But never forget yourself. Recognize if you are that person who wants to and thinks about the needs of others first, also considers the needs of yourselves. We need to make sure we're caring for ourselves. We're acknowledging what we're going through as well as what other people are going through, and take care to care for ourselves. So resiliency is really about looking after ourselves alongside with those in our life. Being able to make realistic plans and carry them out. Now, I've had clients, I actually had one the other day that phoned and said, you know, I feel like I'm pulling my hair out. I've got my kids at home, I've got my wife at home. I'm having to work and feel like I'm fulfilling, you know, the expectations that are sort of still on me for doing the job I need to do for my organization. I have my personal time. I feel like I'm letting everybody down. So my client was very open about explaining that he didn't know what to do differently. And so we really had to sit down and think, how can we create blocks in my client's day that would enable them to do things differently? And this is what I find that a lot of us are trying to do. It's like we had a round peg that fit so nicely into this round hole of our life. And then all of a sudden, that round hole doesn't exist anymore. It's become a square hole. And we're trying to fit our round peg into our square hole. Get me? So the point is, we have to change things to make our life work. Otherwise, we're constantly, you know, banging our heads against the wall, and that doesn't help us or anybody else. So how can we change what we're doing to create new routines to set a new way of doing things differently? And a positive view of ourselves is really important. And at this point, you know, I know it's a struggle. It can be a far reach for people to say, hey, I'm hopeful for the outlook for the future. Many of us are thinking about, when is this going to end? You know, what's things going to look like when this is all over? Are we going to have our jobs? Are things going to go back to what they were before? And I think, again, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't really have any kind of information or ideas of when this is all going to happen. But we can go back to our resiliency and how we can, you know, tap into that belief that no matter what happens, we will figure out a solution that will work for us. So again, resiliency is all about attitude. So I'd love to open up the chat box, and I'd love for people to put in, again, something that they consider a resilient attitude that they try and practice on a daily basis. It can be a statement, it can be a word, it can be, I can do this, or I believe in me, whatever it might be. So I invite you to put that into the chat box now.
All right, let's see what's coming up here. I'm good enough. Just breathe. Time for myself. This too shall pass, one day at a time. No judgment. Be prepared. Stay in the moment. Work with what's in your control. Keep a schedule. It could be worse. Tomorrow is a new day. Set up a routine. What can I accomplish today? I got this.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think, you know, if we had a big page that, again, we could put all of those in, the page would be overflowing. So clearly, everybody that has contributed to that chat had some great ideas of how to sometimes make it through day by day. Sometimes that's what we have to do to practice our resilient attitude. I like what somebody said, and I like so much of what people said, but I like to breathe. And sometimes and we will be talking about this, sometimes we need to take a pause. You know, often we don't have the answer. I know for me, and that's because I've got the stage, I can share with you that this has taken me 2 weeks to figure out how I'm going to do this differently. Could be even longer, but it's taken a period of time. I've had to pause. I've had to breathe. I've had to look at those moments where I feel like I can't do this. I don't have the answer, but I've had to take the time and apply that hopefulness that the answer will come, and apply my ability to look at what I can change in the world. So again, you know, we look at that perspective of being an optimist, where optimism is really, or can be described as, believing we have the ability to make a difference in our life. And I think that that's the seat that a lot of us want to sit in, is to recognize that what we want to focus on is what we can change, and let go of what we have no control over. Sometimes that can be challenging, but I think the best and the most forward movement we're going to be able to make, you know, in our personal situations and our professional situations, is to look at what we can control. So looking at resilient people, they really believe that they are in control of their lives. And some people look at that and go, well, no, I'm not in control of everything in my life. But yes, for what you are not in control of, you are in control of how you look at it. You're in control of how you feel about it. You're in control of how you think about it. You're in control of being resourceful. And that is empowering, and that builds self-confidence, which is, I think, this whole thing is an amazing opportunity for us to really believe that we've got this. And I heard somebody put that in that chat box. So again, looking at the fact that we can't always control our circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them. Now, we're creatures of habit, all of us, or at least I am. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but my routines, my ways of doing things, to include my thoughts, are things that tend to be more habitual. So often, again, I've got to take that pause. I can't stress that enough. When you look at moving through the process of change and transition, you're going to want to stop a lot. You're going to want to breathe a lot. You're going to want to take those mini breaks and come back with a refreshed perspective and a refreshed seat of how you're going to move forward, creating some new opportunities in whatever you're dealing with. So again, this is not about turning a frown upside down. I don't think that this conversation is I'm hoping that it's what is coming through us, because there are some very, very, very challenging things people are going through, very stressful things. And it's very important not to be able to take those things lightly. And I hope everybody doesn't feel I'm doing that. But again, when we really want to check into the way we're thinking about things, we want to check into the lens of which we're looking at our world. And resilient people, and I know we all know them, we all have them in our life, tend to, again, change that way that they're viewing things if what they're viewing it as isn't working for them. It's not giving them the result that they need. Kind of like that same thing, try, and it's not necessarily that you failed all those many times that you've tried something, you just haven't found the right solution yet. So I think resiliency is about believing that we have to change the way we view things until we can find the way that works better for what it is we're trying to deal with. So resilient people really kind of look at how they're feeling, what's happening to them, and recognizing that this too will pass. And I think that that's powerful. And sometimes I'll say that to my kids, and they're 23 and 21, and this is the first time they've ever been through this. And I'm telling you, if you spend too much time on social media, it becomes overwhelming and frightening, and you don't ever want to leave your home. So I think it's really important to recognize, as I share with them, this will change, this will pass, we will get through this. And that's helpful to know that it's for a finite period of time. But again, looking at how we can grow through this period of time. So let's open those chat boxes again. And I invite people to say, what's one thing that you believe that you are doing better as a result of your resiliency? Love to hear from you.
All right. There's so many great things being added into this chat here, and I can't say them all at the same time. I don't have time to give through all of them, so I encourage you to go in and read them as well. But some of the things I'm seeing flashing through here is I'm getting better at technology, seeing possibilities, clearly communicating with others, stay positive with what I have right now, patience, being kind to myself, accept that bad things happen, it's not my fault, clear future, learning my limits, learning to live with less, that's for sure. Virtual happy hours with friends and family, going for walks every day, working as a team, knowing what really matters most, develop better relationship with people close to me, and exercising much more.
Ah, excellent. So really good strategies. One way that I use these three principles, learn and grow from life's experiences, look for the opportunity, challenging situation, maintain a healthy outlook. If I need to change my lens, I check into how I'm feeling, and it may not happen automatically. It could be over the days and I'm going, I'm not feeling really very good inside. I need to take a moment because I have the ability to be able to sit down and change my outlook. I need to look at some of these, three different points to see if I can be doing things differently so I can change how I'm feeling inside. And that's my internal barometer, and it works quite well for me. Just wanted to share that. So I love this quote. She stood in storm, and when the wind did not blow her way, she adjusted her sails. And I think we are doing that, and we are saying that over and over again in this presentation. Resiliency is all about learning and growing from life's experiences, whether it's this, it can be something smaller, it can be something bigger, but it's an amazing tool that's going to help us stay strong, healthy, and productive throughout life as we keep moving forward. So doors will open all the time for you. I heard somebody say, I'm getting really good at technology. And I think maybe life is going to change. Maybe the way we do things will change as well. Many of my clients say, hey, I'm really liking not having to be in traffic for 2 hours a day. This is really working well for me. Or people are just getting better at being more productive at home. Hey, it seems like I get to 1 o'clock and I've done everything I'm supposed to do. So what do I do now? So a lot of people are finding that they're being more productive, more efficient, more focused at home. So many good things are going to come out of this, and we might just be doing things a little bit differently since we've had this big shift in our lives. And again, check into that attitude regularly. If you start to get that stinking thinking going, then really kind of take some time to go, this is not serving me well, it's not serving my relationships well, it's not serving my work life, more in my productivity, more in my empowerment. I've got to really challenge myself. So again, we're going to kind of go through these, make them quite quick as we come to the end of our time together. Eat well. In stressful situations, we need to think about taking the time to put healthy food in our bodies, because again, when stress hits, we need to be resilient physiologically. Go to bed. Make sure you've got the same sleep routine. Many of us are tempted to stay up late and sleep a little bit later if we have that luxury. Don't recommend it. Keep your routine as consistent as possible. It's going to make you feel a lot better. Build in exercise time. Get out, get moving. Be okay about taking a break from the computer to go and have a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk in your neighborhood. We can all do it. And again, be mindful of many of the things we're talking about. The Canada Food Guide has produced a really good, updated, food guidelines that people can follow. Go and check them out if you want more information about how to eat well. Planning is essential. Our eating routine is necessary. Watch the snacking, because that can get us all into trouble. We can put on weight, and we can be eating out of, at times when typically we don't. And again, mindful eating is something we want to practice as well. Again, these are things we've talked about. This presentation, I believe, will be part of the recording. So if you feel this is, lots of information to pick up quite quickly, feel free to go back to visit that. I think out of all of this, I want to say keep your regular bed routine. It's most important. Make sure that you do calming activities before you go to sleep. A lot of people are going to be tempted to work later. I'm going to really recommend that people have a similar shut-off time that they might have should they have been working externally to their homes. Have that 4 or 5 o'clock time. A lot of people are tempted to keep on working too late into the night and might have a harder time going to bed. You know, maybe try to avoid napping during the day if that's something that's going to disturb your nighttime sleep. Get moving, find that physical activity that you like to do. Many of our gyms are closed. Many people are isolated in their houses. There's great YouTubes. You can find professional, good, short workouts that you can move along with, or again, nothing wrong with walking, gardening, or just being outside. So just, I know that we have just 1 minute. Love to hear from people. How are you moving more in this time when everybody's gyms are closed? Want to hear from you.
All right, walking outside, yoga videos from YouTube, lots of online videos, taking walks, walking the dog, online boot camp classes, dancing. It's incredible how many online exercise programs that have popped up lately. Yoga online, taking my commute time to go for a walk or do a video, yeah. Raking leaves, rowing machine, moving while watching TV, doing stretches and weights. I've personally rediscovered skip roping. It's great.
Great.
I love to ride my bike, but I don't usually have time to ride my bike. Get up early and go for a bike ride before I sit down to work. Backyards look good.
Okay. Thanks so much, you guys. Those are some very good ideas. I hope they stimulated a lot of our exercise muscles. Thank you so much. There's lots that we can do, and I'm hearing people are doing it. And again, throwing that out here, it's not just physical resilience, not just kind of our mental resilience, but it's our emotional resilience as well. Real quickie, emotional resilience refers to one's ability to adapt to stressful situations or crises. We've said that over and over. Having that roll with the punches attitude, knowing that we can adapt to diversity. Mindfulness is being aware. And this is really important, and I'm going to give a quick 1-second shot to it. Mindfulness is described as the practice of paying attention in the present moment and doing it intentionally and with non-judgment. So we all want to be mindful of what we're doing in the moment or what we're doing in our life and determine whether it's serving us well or whether or not we have to look at maybe changing for it. Again, this is it. We've gone through this. We're going to go through this. I want everybody as a community, as we pull this together, to do a mindful exercise. So let's take a moment to have one deep breath all together. And you're going to take a deep breath now and just blow it out through your mouth. And even in that moment of that mindful breath, we've activated the relaxation response and give ourselves a moment to just think and make choices from a calm place. So pulling this together, lots of great information on this presentation. Everybody contributed so much, and I'm so grateful for that. Choose only one thing to focus on because we're already dealing with so much change right now. So if something kind of a light bulb went on for you and you went, yeah, you know, I really want to practice doing that better, just choose that one thing for now. Create a plan for change around it and practice integrate it into your life on a daily basis. I usually recommend people practice that one thing for a week. And then once you've been successful at that, then choose a different thing. That's a good way to transition into change. So again, ask for support, be compassionate with yourself and those that are also going through change, the people at the checkout counter, the people that are, you know, still working, that are really trying to adjust and might be in a scary situation. We need to be compassionate. We need to be empathic with what other people are going through. Maybe a coworker that's really struggling with technology. We want to be on their side and help people as best as we can to be resilient as well. So eat healthier, move more, get more sleep, try a guided meditation. So I love this, what Nelson Mandela said, when people are determined, they can overcome anything. And I think as a community, globally, everybody coming together, we're going to come out of this as a stronger group of people, stronger culture, and a stronger society. I want to thank you all for being here and being in attendance and participating. And I also want to wish you to be well and be safe.
Before you tune out, please make sure you follow us on social media to find out about other upcoming events. We will put on more webinars like this one. And also, if you want to learn more about our coaching programs, please visit our website or just give us a call to find out if coaching is right for you.